All right, let's see what exactly Myron thinks about ICE because knowing him, he's being an ex-federal agent. It has to be some really racist stuff. So let's see what he's thinking about.
So everybody under ICE detention right now is have criminal backgrounds.
They're illegally here.
Do they have criminal backgrounds?
That's irrelevant. They committed a crime.
It's a crime.
That's
if
irrelevant.
You came here illegally, it's
That's
a crime.
irrelevant.
You just said it's a crime. If it's a crime, why is it
They
not
don't
on
have
the
to have a
record?
criminal history in
Because you
America
don't know what the fuck you're talking
for them
about.
to be
You're
illegal.
brain fucking dead.
What are your children going to say? Oh, my daddy is an architect. Oh, my daddy is an electrician. And then your children are going to be like, my daddy harasses women for a living.
I'm getting insulted by a part-time Hot Topic employee. This is crazy.
Okay, Myron.
Yo, being fat at 17 is crazy. I'll tell you this, they definitely put the fries in the bag for her.
Why don't you just explain why you don't think women should have the right to vote?
Okay. What is a selective service?
I'm not sure.
That's why you shouldn't be able to vote.
But you just said trans don't deserve to hold guns and shouldn't have guns in the country. But you yourself own a gun.
Yeah, I'm not mentally ill or retarded.
But you're trans. This is my biggest
Be very careful with these one-hit answers. I'm just saying, be very careful.
dream to come see you. So I wanted to ask you a quick question real quick.
What are you doing, bro? What are you doing? We are here at USC. I think, this is like the third time we've been here now at this point. So happy to be here. Some of my views, I think women are stupid. I think men are better than women at almost everything. Jews run America. Indians stink. Blacks are criminals. What else? Did I say Indians stink? Women's stupid. What? Yeah, Chinese are good at math, but they also steal our technology. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. And it wasn't 6 million. So yeah, we could go ahead and have it.
That last one was the open anti-Semitism of saying it wasn't that many people that died in the Holocaust. So this guy's going full racism. It looks like, judging from his background, is very copying of Turning Point and Charlie Kirk. So it looks like he's just trying to copy someone who taught him a lot about how to be like him. So people like this are obviously going to be pushing racist agendas because their agenda as a whole is going to be, again, not the one to make you happy nor productive. It is more so to create turmoil amongst people they think are lesser than them, which is ironic coming from a federal agent who would be seen as a shield for a lot of accusations or hatred that a lot of police have. So again, be very careful. I keep saying it, but people like this are intentionally trying to attack people in their mind. So this agenda they push is somewhat of an old one. It's white supremacy in its clearest form today, modernized through a lot of talking rhetoric that Fox Republicans push and Republicans as a whole. So they're just trying to keep merging these ideas that civilization comes from discrimination rather than from progressive value. So he openly starts his introduction as a way to rage bait. He's going to bring in a lot of people through that, which is attention grabbing, and that's the best you can get to soapboxing.
Discussion, but today we're going to be focusing more on ICE. I know that there's been a lot of outrage with the ICE raids and the ICE surges in all the blue cities to enforce more immigration. There's been a couple shootings, etc. And we're also going to be discussing Valentine's Day and how Valentine's Day is for simps and how most guys should not be bothering with giving a majority of women any type of gifts because most women are useless. So yeah, anyone that agrees, disagrees, whatever it may be, if you want to give your take or whatever, feel free to come on up on the mic. We're going to focus on ICE first. But yeah, those are some of my positions when it comes to my worldviews. So who's up first? Oh, and I got some flowers here too. I guess I see, reverse Valentine's Day is cool. If I get the gifts, that's cool. No problem. So yeah, don't be scared, guys. You guys come on up on the mic. If you have a disagreement or you want to add to it or whatever, cool. What's up, man? How are you? Yo.
We talking about Israel?
Sure. I don't want to make the whole thing about Israel.
Of course not. Of course not. It's just I'm a conservative. I support Israel. I think it's important for us to have a relationship with an ally that allows us to project power across the Middle East, and particularly to stop China from pursuing their goals of dominating global trade, specifically in the Suez Canal. What do you think about that?
I think the relationship with Israel doesn't serve us at all.
Why?
Well, they get us into a bunch of foreign wars. They have a very powerful lobby group here in the United States that only really cares about their own affairs. We don't get the same strategic benefit from being with them that they get from us. I mean, President Nixon already admitted this. Several presidents know this. The only reason that we really support Israel is because we have a bunch of rich Jewish oligarchs that run America. So that's why.
Well,
And that's the cold, hard reality.
Well, first of all, I think it's important that we can acknowledge the fact that there is a large Jewish lobby in the United States, while at the same time acknowledge that there are more Christian Zionists in America than there are Jews in the world. And say, hey, maybe it's not the fact that we're being lobbied so hard, but it's the fact that this is just how voters typically believe. And also to counter the fact that Israel gets us into so many wars, a lot of those wars were either specifically like things like Iraq. They were motivated by a combining factors of profound government corruption. You had Dick Cheney actively having conflicting interests, being the CEO of Halliburton, who rebuilds countries, and he's the CEO of another company which destroys countries, known as the United States government. But a lot of those other wars tended to have a mutual interest for both countries, I would argue.
There was no benefit to Iraq whatsoever.
I would agree. I agree.
They didn't have weapons of mass destruction. It was all a lie.
I agree. I think that was due to
I
think that was not due to the fact that Israel was getting us into the war, but the fact that we had a profound level of government. Oh my gosh, a profound level of government corruption, specifically with Dick Cheney and the Bush administration. I think that Iraq was a tragedy, while at the same time, I think that we should have a relationship with Israel.
No, not at all. Like I said, and even less now, even less so now with what they did in Gaza and all the wars that they're starting all across the Middle East. They're going to get us to bomb Iran. I hope you know that too. Like, that's 100% going to happen because they're going to attack the Iranians no matter what at this point. Netanyahu looked like an idiot going to White House and getting a declination, and they're going to attack them by themselves, and we're going to get dragged into it because the Iranians already said if they get hit again that it's going to be an existential crisis for them.
This was before the Iranian attack, and of course, a lot of people are against Israel for anti-Semitic reasons, but there is a huge group of people who are against Israel for the genocide in Gaza and the discrimination against people of color there, which of course is oftentimes shielded with a lot of people like Myron, but in their version, which are Jewish, brown, and black people who say they're not racist, they exist, but they're Jewish. And in America, if you're more aligned with whitewashing or Christian Protestant ideology, then suddenly you get a lot more passes. It's sort of similar to that notion, which is why a lot of people here in America already know the 1960s and the Civil War is a big indicator that in Israel they're pushing the same agenda but more severely, which is why them not being Jewish is very eye-opening for the fact that none of them would be accepted within Israel is a clear indicator that that system as a whole of genocide could be replicated in a lot of first world European countries to kill people and over police a lot of people of color across the world. So there is a lot of fear with what they're doing in Israel, and it is backed by a lot of credible thinking.
They're going to fight back, and they're going to hit our bases as well as Tel Aviv and Haifa and all that. So there's really no strategic benefit to benefiting Israel.
Iran already tried to bomb our bases. They didn't succeed. Every single missile that they fired us, we shot down.
It was a symbolic strike, and they told them
symbolic strike. Why would you do a symbolic strike right after your biggest nuclear plants just got destroyed unilaterally by the United States military? It doesn't make any sense.
Because it's called strategic warfare and using a measured response. The point was
measured response.
Yes.
If the United States' nuclear facilities got blown up by Russia, it would be all-out war. The fact of the matter is that Iran has been so neutered and kneecapped by the efforts of the United States and Israel that it can't afford to launch
You're missing the bottom line. Why are we at war with Iran?
We're at war with Iran because they're aligning themselves with China, and they have positioned themselves to destabilize the entire Middle East. Every issue in
India
the Middle
aligns
East
themselves with China too. We don't bomb them. We're at
If you go to war with Iran, we failed in Afghanistan because we were at war with the Quran. A lot of these people who were slaughtered in leadership didn't have enough time to tell the next generation why we hate Western imperialism. They only had the Quran to give them and their culture to defend, which is why a lot of them didn't know what 9/11 was or what any of the attacks on American soil were, because when they grow up and herd sheep and they're just living as farmers humbly, suddenly they see a roaring jet over them and their family members are dead. They suddenly have an enemy, which of course going to war with a country that has a completely different culture than you is going to result in a lot of casualties because you're going to have to destroy the very concept of their culture in order to win. This is why, again, a war with Iran is very foolish, because the Shia are not the origin of their ideology. It's baiting in a lot of the Middle Easterners who were hard to educate all the following there to be one unit to follow each other, to now unite under responsive unit of defense against the Western imperialists who will kill anyone who has a different ideology than them. Which is why a lot of those attack tactics that brought the Americans to the Middle East are the ones that are very well traps, because they couldn't hold all of their Muslim communities as a one unified force, not only because of the Western imperialism, but if you bait in a bunch of Western imperialism, then the people who no longer listen to you are running to you for advice on how to fight back. They're getting armed and they're getting organized, and that's what related to what they perceived as a huge terroristic threat, because the terroristic threat was always needing a cause or a person that is the enemy in order to fight and unite the Middle East. Which, of course, the Middle East is now united, but not quite, but is united against Western imperialism, which created a lot more unity than before when there was no Western imperialism, until, again, a bunch of men and women tried to invade and take it for themselves. Then suddenly they had a cause that people could get behind. So it was a bait tactic to bring in a lot more people to attack. So then when you attack, a lot of the people would unite on the other side, and you would create a more unified coalition and a lot more organization. And of course, even if you killed that organization, they could just come back to when they were before the invasion, or rather during, and they're going to have to realize that they're not fighting an organization now. They're fighting a broken up pieces of an ideology, which is going to take generations to get rid of, which of course is going to be a genocide if you want to get rid of it quickly. And if you don't want to get rid of it quickly, then you're in a forever war, because that's what the Christians did during the Crusades against not only the Jews, but also against Islam, and of course failed because they're still there and we're still trying to invade. Again, this is not as smart as people think when you fight against a country you think is lesser just because of missile logic. That missile is bigger than their missile, then therefore we deserve everything. A lot of that's going to have to be a cultural discussion or an ideological one, which is going to end in a genocide, because the genocide is going to need to be perpetually pushed forward in order to overwrite the ideology they have as they grow older, which is a book called the Quran for Americans who are bigoted, but really is just a bunch of human beings trying to defend against a bunch of bombs coming into their neighborhoods and towns that are slaughtering their family members and community members, to which they now suddenly have a new meaning in life besides just making a big farm for themselves to get rich. They are now turning their attention to how they can die for God, or die for the concept of pushing these invaders or infidels out of their land.
Or with Iran because of the
Israel-
Jews, okay? It's very simple.
Iran-
Jews run America. They run our infrastructure from every single point. You got people like Mark Levin saying bomb Iran every day on fucking Twitter, and I'm tired of hiding it. The
First of
fucking
all-
Jews have us going to war, and Americans are going to die for the Jews. I'm not going to let it happen again and now call it out, because back in during the 9/11 days, which you might have been a kid back then, we didn't have alternative media to be able to say, get this propaganda out of here. We justified the entire Iraq war off of Osama bin Laden allegedly attacking us on 9/11. Bin Laden and Saddam Hussein hated each other. There was no relation there whatsoever for some false weapons of mass destruction.
Myron,
This is the same propaganda from the early 2000s that they used to justify us being in the Middle East, and it's given us no fucking benefits except for Jews lining their pockets, going ahead and justifying wars all across the Middle East, and fixing their policy papers or enacting on their policy papers like the Clean Break Memo and the Project for a New Century. We get zero benefits from going to war in the Middle East. Iran is not our enemies. They don't have any threats to us. They're a threat to Israel, and now we're taking on that risk.
What about China? If we allow Iran, who has aligned themselves with China strategically, to position themselves, to align themselves with every other country in the Middle East, that gives them profound influence over the Suez Canal, which allows them to dominate global trade.
Israel sells
and
our
determine-
technology to the Chinese. They get caught doing it all the time.
China steals our technology anyways.
Yes, and who gives it to them? The Israelis. Bro. Like,
Dude, I mean, I haven't looked into that.
yes,
I mean,
yes.
I bet
the
it's more
Israelis have been
nuanced
caught
than you're
stealing.
than
The
you're,
Israelis have been
putting-
caught giving our technology over to Israelis.
I mean,
sorry, to
I haven't
Chinese.
looked into it. I mean, they might be, but the fact of the matter is, I think it's important to have a relationship that allows us to dominate global trade, and Israel provides that.
Israel's been stealing our technology for a very long time. Their spies have been getting caught. Some of the Jonathan Pollard, one of the worst spies ever.
I know Jonathan Pollard caused significant strains of the United States.
Yeah, and guess
Israel
what happened? Who
relationship.
was at the
And it
tarmac
was
to meet
re-
him in 2020?
It was repaired.
Hold
What?
on, who was at the tarmac to meet him in 2020?
Tell me who.
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Benjamin Netanyahu.
He was released from prison early.
I'm not.
and they took him
defending
back to
Benjamin
Israel.
Netanyahu. I've never defended Benjamin Netanyahu. There are people back there who have spoken with about Israel before, and they can attest to it that I do not support Benjamin Netanyahu. I think that Benjamin Netanyahu has done irreparable damage to Israel's credibility on the world stage, specifically in how he's
been
conducted
their
the
longest
war.
lasting leader. He's the one that's been dragging us into the wars. We're going to get into another conflict with Iran if they strike.
I think
So,
that Iran. I think
Netanyahu is Israel.
I would totally support if there was a way to get rid of Iran's current government without dragging us into a forever war.
Regime
whatever that
changes
may
don't
be.
work, dude. I mean, we've seen
Regime
this for
changes
look
absolutely
at
do work.
Libya right now. Look at
Look
Iraq
at Panama.
right now.
Look at Germany.
I'm talking about the Middle East.
Talk about the Middle East.
I'm talking about the Middle East.
Well, the
Regime
reason-
change wars don't work. We've seen this already all across the
Well,
Middle
when
East.
you're
Every
trying
country
to
that
build
we've
a
destabilized, it doesn't work.
When you're trying to build a feminist utopia in Afghanistan, of course it's not going to work. But when you go in there with a set goal and allow the people to overthrow the government themselves, like look at Syria. Syria is building a functioning government as we speak. And the United States didn't have to spend a single troop to do that.
Yeah, just a bunch of intervention and supporting the Israelis so they can go ahead and bomb the Lebanese and then go ahead
Syria
and
was
be
aligning
able to.
themselves with Russia. Now they're aligning themselves with the West. I don't see how that's a bad thing.
They've been destabilized for decades. They've been fucked up for a long
decades.
time.
And
So
they were under the
again,
leadership of
we don't have anything really to show for Middle East intervention from a United States perspective. The Israelis obviously love it because when the Middle East is destabilized, they could be the hegemony and they can do what they want to do. They want to be the only superpower over there. Fine, but let them do it on their own. Israel has a right to defend themselves, whatever you want to say. Fine, but we don't have to pay for it and or support it.
I think we've gone over everything we're going to say here. Thank you so much, Myron.
No worries.
That was
Good
awesome.
discussion.
Thanks, man.
No worries. Good discussion, man.
Hey, I'm literally just like walking by on my way to get lunch, and I saw this thing set up, and I see that ICE did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think that? You
Yeah,
truly
what is
think
your
that?
what is your point of contention with ICE?
I'm not like the most insanely informed guy or anything like that, but I just see on the news every day they're just like terrorizing the citizens of Minneapolis. They're kidnapping literal children, putting them in like essentially concentration camps. They shot two people. You know, they called that one woman a fucking bitch on camera when she did nothing wrong. They seem like a bunch of murderous thugs who dropped out of the military or the police academy.
Yeah, so that's called enforcing immigration law. We voted for that. That's why Trump won an overwhelming majority. He campaigned on going hard on immigration and mass deportations and actually enforcing the Immigration Nationality Act. And that's what we're getting right now. I know a lot of people get mad about it, but that's what immigration enforcement looks like.
That's Nazi shit, man.
I don't think were the Nazis deporting Mexicans? I'm not sure. From Germany?
They're deporting anybody who was an enemy of their ideology.
Well, it's not even an ideology. They're here illegally. We have laws.
I feel safer with immigrants who are here illegally than ICE, man. Like, I don't know. I trust them more.
Well, that's precisely why we're going down the fucking tubes.
Again, what he just tricked Myron into, which I love, is he tricked him into talking about the ideology, which of course they are killing people on left and right and using Gestapo tactics. They are, Kristi Noem went on a hearing and they tried to deport a man, and they did. They put him in hold for 2 weeks while his daughter was dying for a nonviolent crime, and they did not care for his cries for help and the inhumane conditions he was in. Excuse me. And because of the inhumane conditions he was in, a lot of these people just completely ignored what exactly was happening, and he did not get to see his daughter before she died. But even if he did not get to spend those final 2 weeks, which of course he did not, which is why they put her in a Kristi Noem's hearing, which you can see online. It's 4 hours. It's a long time. I might do a review on it and cut out some pieces that were my favorite. But a lot of this is just cruelty, and they are allowed to stop you just for being brown and just for having an accent. So again, they are not deporting people that are illegal. They are looking for rights to harass black and brown citizens and people with accents who are legally born here, just so they could harass them and say that they are different and don't belong in this country, which again is an old school thinking that we haven't seen it since World War II, Nazi Germany, because it replaced the Jews now with the Latinos, because it's easier to strike a Latino than it is a black man now, because now black men are no longer black men. They're Haitian, they're Jamaican, they're African, and they get deported. And now all the Latinos, or anyone who's brown and is not known as a race that they're familiar with, they just slap on Mexican, Venezuelan, or anyone who's not from here in order to make themselves feel better about continuously discriminating against you for your skin color. Which now we are living during the most fascistic empire that we've seen since World War II, Nazi Germany. So again, Myron's lack of education in this shows that he's either on the side of the Nazis, which a lot of Nazis did have a lot of traitors in order to kill the maximum amount of people of color, be very wary. We're living in rough times. These are the times of which a lot of black and brown people are being killed for no reason, disappeared, falsely accused, maybe even pushed allegations on to isolate them and kill them, which is the same exact methods they used against Jewish people during Nazi Germany, which is why a lot of Latinos are getting accused of crimes they did not commit and being blackmailed and being told that vigilante crime can be done on them in order to kill them, because segregating and separating them from any help is the best option they have to exterminate an inferior race in order to create a Superman, or also known as Ubermensch, which is an Aryan, white supremacist Aryan ideology that they're trying to raise, that if you're on their side, you're part of the superiors, and if you're not, you're part of the inferiors, and therefore we're all at war with the inferiors, and if you're not with them, you're against them, which is the megalomania of Hitler is now replicating the megalomania of ICE and all of that, which pledged their personal oath to Trump.
If you prefer illegal immigrants being here over ICE officers and or agents, we got bigger problems.
Those
man.
untrained, like, they're cruel. I just don't believe they're doing it because they enjoy just picking on people. They don't seem like they care about, like, keeping people safe. They just enjoy the cruelty and, like, reveling in it. That guy called that woman a fucking bitch on camera.
Well, you got to understand that a lot of these agitators up in Minneapolis are leftist retards that want to start problems, want to heckle them, want to impede them as they're doing their jobs, which is a
The
felony,
woman who
by
was
the
dropping
way.
off her kid to school and then which happened to be there when they were there, and then they fucking shot her 3 times in the head as she was pulling away.
You're talking about Renee Good?
You know her name, yeah.
Yeah. So what about that?
They shot her 3 times in the head as she was leaving.
She tried to run over an ICE officer.
That's fucking not true. I can't believe you're sitting here
Did you
in
not
front
see?
of all these people and saying that.
I think we all saw the footage. She tried to run him over. By your own admission, you even said you didn't know what was going on too much in the news or whatever. If you want to go down this road, we can. But he's absolutely justified in that shoot.
I have seen that video.
You
That shooting is an execution, by the way. He puts his hand into the car window to shoot her in the head, which you can try and argue that the initial shots that were starting it off could have been defined as defense, though I do not. The final shot showed intent, which meant they were going for the execution of the person, the same way you would gun someone down in your claim of defense, but then you would stand over them and then shoot them dead to confirm their kill, would oftentimes be proven as execution or attempted murder if they survived.
saw the video?
I seen the video.
Good. Did you see him get hit? 'Cause he did
Even
get
the
hit.
most professional officer, he called her a fucking bitch.
What does that have to do with anything?
She was a woman, and then she didn't obey him as fast enough as he liked. She tried to leave. She was not agitating, and then he shot her 3 times in the head.
Okay, how about this? Take me through the facts of why you think they were wrong on that day. What do you know about the incident? And then I'll
just clear up why bitch matters so much. It shows the intent. Again, if you call someone a slur because they want to obey you, what he's trying to hint at is the man in the glasses, is that he's trying to say that this man was patriarchal and misogynist, and he wanted a woman to obey him no matter what. Which is why this ideology is always obey, 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 authority over everyone else, because they're trying to push the obedience dynamic, which is obey and nothing will go wrong, just stay calm and allow it to happen, which is a lot similar to how rapists think, how predators think, and how people who murder and execute people think, which is why it's a problem, because the execution with the final shot in the head showed intent of murder, and then the follow-up shots with the slurs show that he was more upset they were not obeying him in his authoritative position, which shows that he was more concerned about being the one with the most authority and therefore abusing his power, which is why that entire ideology of him being the innocent one is scary for a lot of people, because it sets a precedent. Even if he gets an innocent verdict, they now know they can shoot someone dead that way and get away with it, which is why a lot of this is a big contentious issue, because now you can be executed for essentially trying to drive away from someone, and then now they're going to shoot you dead, whereas a lot of people would just get a chase or a pullover because they want to talk to you again and try to claim you're running from police, and then that would also be dismissed in court, or maybe not. But now something that would have been a court ticket or a ticket and or a arrest has now turned into a murder, and a life has been robbed of a family and robbed of a child to be able to experience their mother's love, and now they have to call their mom a martyr because a cop wanted to call her a bitch and execute her through the car window. That's why he is hinting at the word bitch.
What I know is that they were there doing their thing. She was literally on her way home, dropping her kids off from school. It happened to be there. She said to the guy, like, "I'm not mad at you, dude," trying to leave, and then they shot her.
Okay.
As she was leaving. Her car was angled away from that guy trying to leave, and he shot her in the head Not once, but 3 times.
Okay. So
If he wasn't an immigrant.
see, and this is the problem with a lot of people that debate me on this topic with progressives. You guys like to omit extremely pertinent details that led to the shooting. So let's go through this. They were there doing an immigration enforcement operation, all right? Lawfully there, doing their duty. She blocks them and impedes them from doing that. That's a crime, 18 U.S.C. 111, impeding or assaulting a federal officer during the course of their duties. They told her to move, and she would not move. They gave her lawful commands to get out of the car because they're probably more than likely going to detain and or arrest her. She decides, I'm going to go ahead and just drive away as one of the ICE officers is recording the incident and strikes him in the process. A vehicle is a deadly weapon. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter even what I think. What matters is what happened and what did the officer believe at the time that the use of force was done. There's a bunch of case law on this with Tennessee versus Gardner, Graham versus Connor, Tennessee versus Gardner, and then Graham versus Connor. And basically, use of force in America is not based on 2020 hindsight. It's based on what were the facts known to the officer at the time they used the lethal force. If someone's coming at you with a car, you are absolutely justified to stop the threat and defend yourself. And that's what ended up happening. She got shot because she did not obey lawful orders while she's in the process of committing a felony. I don't care what you feel about it or what you think. Those are the facts. And he is justified in that shooting.
No.
Why is he not justified in it? Go ahead. And there you go. They don't argue facts. This is what progressives do. You're wrong.
You always want to bring up facts. It's just inhumane, man. It's just inhumane.
Okay, if you want to make a moral argument, that's fine. But
that's what.
But facts don't care about your feelings. He is justified in the shooting. There's a reason why he didn't get indicted.
People are so cold. You don't care about feelings or like just decent everyday humanity. It's always about the facts.
How about you don't commit crimes? How about you obey law enforcement?
She wasn't committing a crime.
She was committing a crime.
She happened to be there. And she probably had a good feeling they were going to fucking kill her.
No, it's not that she just happened to be there. She was purposely putting her car in a position to obstruct them from doing their duties. Like many agitators in Minneapolis.
That's not a fact.
You say you want Did you not see where the car was?
It's not a fact.
It was on the road, blocking them.
People always say that. It's not a fact.
Incredible. First it was, I don't know what's going on. I don't know too much. Then I tell you what's going on. Oh, well, that's not true. That's what happened.
I saw that video.
Yeah, did you see him getting hit?
He did not get hit.
Okay, dude. All right, now the sky's green as well. Who's up next?
Thank you.
See, like these guys don't live in reality, man. All right, what's up?
So America, as we all know, we have a lot of people in power that are not loyal to our country. They're more loyal to Israel, Japan, the European Union, a lot of foreign entities that have, I guess, control over our country. How, as Americans, can we get the control back to the people here in the United States rather than BlackRock and a bunch of foreign billionaires across the world?
That's a good question. Number one, no dual citizenship. Number two, remove women from positions of power. Number three, remove foreign lobbying groups, make them all have to register under FARA, and have a very strict America First nationalist policy where we only do things really that benefit the United States, minimize interventionism, reel back feminism, have more national pride. That's something that I've noticed that we don't have enough. Like people don't even say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore in school, which is crazy to me, and limit immigration.
Could we potentially, I guess, pressure Israel? Like, I know we were soft on them for USS Liberty, but could we maybe like demand, I guess, compensation or paying back the money that we gave them in the same way with other countries like Ukraine? We can maybe like demand some resources from Ukraine.
I think what we would need to do is we would have to tell Israel that they're going to have to institute they're going to have to answer the Palestine question is basically what it is. Because all of these problems stem from their from them not wanting to either create a two-state solution or integrate the Palestinians into Israel because they want to maintain a Jewish majority. So all the issues in the Middle East, basically, that is the root problem. So we need to figure out the Palestine question, and we have to be willing to enforce it to some degree where, hey, we're not going to give you any aid if you guys don't play nice with these guys or something like that. Because the problem right now is they have zero incentive to change or anything because we give them the aid. And they're trying to get around the Palestine question with bringing more countries in with the Abraham Accords, et cetera. So I think that's what we would need to do.
Yes. And finally, this is the most serious. What do you think about, unfortunately, Clavicular getting frame-mogged by an ASU frat leader? I mean, I was devastated. I was in my room crying for hours. I mean, like, my glorious king clavicular was just mogged, and I just don't know how I'm gonna get over it.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I don't know. I'll do a stream with him and we'll go to the gym. There we go.
All right, thank you.
We'll
Thank
build
you,
it back
Myron.
up.
Thank
Shout
you,
to
Myron.
clavicular. All right, man.
That guy completely ignored the fact he said take women's rights away to vote, which is a hardcore, just not even a dog whistle, but more like a blowhorn to just tell you that women are inferior to all people, which is insane. That these guys are just openly saying that women are lesser and human beings don't deserve the same respect, depending on where they grow. It's actually insane because this diminishing of women also applies to overseas on how they see different cultures and identities. It's actually very concerning that a lot of people aren't taking this serious because we are in one of the most fascistic eras because we are devolving our society's respect for human beings and we are pretending like this is just a political discussion rather than something that's extremely serious that can kill millions of people because it's already killed thousands, but we're only zooming in on the ones that appeal to the most how do you say, privileged class, because if we showed you every single black and brown person, you guys turned that to a YouTube channel, which you guys celebrate saying taking out the trash under, or you say they deserved it, or some racist rhetoric. So we're living in a very scary time. Very scary times.
Thanks for coming up.
Yeah, I think ICE right now is basically a terror organization. Everything they're doing is perpetuating violence, and that's proof from the top down, from the admin. You see Trump, Kristi Noem, and like Tom Holman calling these people domestic terrorists as a result of just like trying to flee the scene or just basic defense of a woman. These people clearly aren't domestic terrorists, and they're using that as authority to expand their executive powers. You see the same thing with them breaking into homes without a warrant. Without a judge's warrant, them doing it by themselves with the only executive. Like, this is shit you will see in Germany, right? So,
Okay, so you think that they're a terrorist organization?
yeah.
Okay. Well, look, I mean, I can't tell you how to think, but what I can tell you is that I think Antifa is a way bigger threat than ICE or law enforcement. You literally have these crazy liberals on, cameras talking about we're going to go ahead and kill ICE agents and law enforcement and we're going to do X, Y, Z. We're going to take our country back with guns and all this other stuff. I would argue they're the real terrorist organization, and it took Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck to finally designate them as one. Rest in peace to him. So, I think you just got some guys enforcing the Immigration Nationality Act, which hasn't been done in a very long time, and that's why people are losing their minds.
Okay, I noticed you didn't disagree with anything I said. The difference between Antifa and ICE right now is that ICE is state sanctioned. So we have the president and the whole entire Republican Party pushing this organization forward. You don't see any Democratic lawmaker or congressman going ahead and supporting Antifa, so that's a completely ridiculous comparison. And yeah, actually, I'll let you.
Because they're the real. I use that comparison because they're the real terrorist organization, not ICE. See, here's
so
the thing.
do you understand there's a problem when we have the whole admin approving of the violence done against like our American citizens, done against immigrants? We're sending them to torture prisons, like with the deal with El Salvador. All of that's completely unhumanitarian. That's not part of the INA. We don't have to send them to CCOT. And then we don't have to call American citizens domestic terrorists. These are just things.
Deporting them, number one, is a part of the INA. They're here illegally.
I said to CCOT, to a torture prison.
Yeah, so, well, regardless, we got to get them out of here. So that's, and where they end up after the fact is whatever, but we got to deport them out of here. So here's the thing, right? And your framing of the situation perfectly encapsulates the problem here. We haven't enforced immigration in so long where people are seeing ICE actually do what they're supposed to be doing, and they're losing their minds because we haven't enforced immigration in so long because it's been a political hot potato for so long. Progressives have always wanted to be away from it. They don't want to go ahead and deal with it. And then Republicans have been cucked by it as well. But Donald Trump is the first president to actually go hard in immigration and do what's called interior immigration enforcement, not just turning people back away at the border. And of course, when you're going to have an immigration enforcement surge in major cities that are blue, that are sanctuary cities, that have been honoring detainers, have been honoring ICE in general, picking people up in their counties, you're going to have problems. I think given the fact that this is like an unprecedented immigration enforcement surge, it's not that bad. And these people that are getting shot, like Renee Good or Alex Pretty, whatever, these are individuals that are agitating and committing crimes during the course of their lawful process, as they claim to be, and you can't be doing that.
I'm noticing you're not responding to a single thing I said, but I will address the fact. I mean, you didn't. I don't know why you're looking so confused. I'm saying Donald Trump right now is calling these people domestic.
Because these are your like subjective opinions that don't fucking matter.
It's not
like,
subjective.
I think that they're terrorists.
Yeah,
like,
Myron.
Nobody cares. Like,
Myron,
that's not what we're here to talk about.
You can tell when Myron gets caught in a corner when he starts doing voices like that. He gets really angry. He gets really mad because when you start making sense, he tries to mock you with a voice that you're lesser. I love that because you can see him start to break, and when a woman does that, he usually says that means you're inferior, which of course a lot of his emotional stances can be shown very clearly when he gets angry when people don't just agree with him.
Donald Trump calling these people domestic terrorists.
Worldview.
Why is Donald Trump calling these people domestic terrorists?
What?
Why is Donald Trump and Kristi Noem calling these people domestic terrorists?
In regards to who specifically?
Alex Preddy, Renee Good.
Well, I wouldn't maybe go as far as calling them domestic terrorists.
But the admin does. And the Republican Party backs that up completely.
Okay,
You understand
that's
that, right?
fine.
That's
That's
not fine. Because that is the authority he uses to expand his executive powers. That's the authority he's using to send out the National Guard. He's making AI slop videos of arresting governors. He's saying that all these people are treasonous and they need to be hung.
Well, the Pokemon video was kind of funny. You got to admit that one. The Gotta Catch 'Em All one was kind of funny. But look, do I agree with everything that this administration does? No. I am actually extremely critical of Trump and Kristi Noem. I think Kristi Noem is a dumb bimbo. But the reality is maybe calling them domestic terrorists, I don't agree with that. But Alex Preddy, he was doing some dumb shit armed while resisting law enforcement, not intelligent, and he had been in a scuffle with them a couple weeks prior. Renee Good also committing a felony when she was shot. Like, there's got to be some accountability on these individuals where they're impeding officers while using deadly weapons, a vehicle, or being armed.
So once again, I asked you why Donald Trump is calling these people domestic terrorists, not if you agree with it or disagree with it.
How about you ask Donald Trump why he's calling them domestic terrorists?
I
just told you that I don't think that they're domestic terrorists.
What is his state of mind for the people in the Trump admin and the ICE administration to call these people domestic terrorists?
See, this is
you're unable to answer the question. It's obvious. No, this isn't Trump derangement system.
Because I just told you that I don't agree with calling them domestic terrorists.
I didn't ask if you agree or not. He's manufacturing a problem to expand his executive powers. That's the problem I have with Donald Trump and ICE in general.
Okay.
Do you disagree with that?
You said expanding the powers?
He's setting a precedent, saying these people are domestic terrorists. He's manufacturing a problem, and he's doing that as the basis to go ahead and do all these large ICE raids, to send out the National Guard, to go ahead and be able to kill civilians and be completely backed up by the administration. Do you disagree with that?
Dude, you're number one. He labeled Antifa as an actual terrorist organization.
Non-answer.
Alex Preddy, Renee Good. These are different situations.
Non-answer.
Okay, next. Just go ahead. Cool. This guy is like.
That guy 100% got Myron. I'm sorry, but that guy just nailed it right there because he says he has an opinion about how people are labeled domestic terrorists, but he couldn't define it himself. He could not define anything at all, which it means a lot of people are on to people like Myron who are very simplistic in thinking and only want to push rage bait and intimidation tactics of saying that people like him are so ignorant they'll follow people without question, which of course when he tried to question his Führer Trump, he called it Trump derangement syndrome because he didn't want anyone to address his Führer, which is his leader, because wherever his leader goes, he follows. Reference to Hitler, by the way, if anyone.
Insufferable, man.
Yo, MyronGaines.
Like, you asked Donald Trump why he calls him a domestic terrorist. I told you already that I don't agree with that, but you just want to keep harping on that. Yes, but Antifa is a domestic terrorist organization. What's up?
How you feel about the ICE office opening downtown Columbia? Do you agree with it or?
An ICE office opening here in downtown Columbia?
Yes, sir.
I'm not familiar with it. I'm not aware of it, but, you know, I guess, whatever.
I was just asking, but this is a random question. How do you feel about New York itself, like the drill community?
What?
Like the rappers, the drill community, drill rappers?
Problematic. It's bad music. I used to listen to it myself a little bit, then I realized, like, damn, this is some degenerate niggatry.
Facts. I should say you got to tap into EBK Cool. Be a good rapper. You got to tap into him.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, look, I don't think music that glorifies killing others, you know, and it's like real lyrics too. It's not like bullshit from 20 years ago, like, you know, Jay-Z and Nas like beefing. It's like they're legitimately talking about real murders, and these lyrics are being used, you know, in court. So it's just a bad look.
Right. Hey. Only thing I gotta say is we smoking on Wu Lottie, Naughty, J-Rip.
Hey, look around, bro. None of these niggas know who you talking about, bro. Come on,
Real
man.
rappers, we smoking on.
Yo, bro came out to diss the ops with a bunch of white people around. What's up?
Hey, MyronGaines. Low key, I'm like a really big fan of yours, and I just want to ask, dude. When Nick Fuentes fucked you in the ass, did he allow you to come?
Of course, this guy would come up and say something like that. Do you have a real like point of contention or something? Or?
There's really like no point in actually debating you because you just say nuh-uh and like rage bait people. You're a completely unserious individual. You're like 80, dude, and you come to college campuses and insult women like a tenth of your age, dude. Like, come on, really. What are your children going to say? Oh, my daddy is an architect. Oh, my daddy is an electrician. And then your children are going to be like, my daddy harasses women for a living.
I'm getting insulted by a part-time Hot Topic employee. This is crazy.
For the record, I don't think anyone would have Myron's kids, but if that ever did happen, it'd be a very unfortunate person because it would probably be a living example of how a lot of these fascists keep reproducing, and we have to constantly educate their kin, which is again a very, very slow person because their father taught them to be slow.
It's crazy, bro. Anything else?
Nah, that was it. I'm not here to actually debate you.
Fair enough.
Love you, Myron. Pookie, I'll remember you.
Progressives are insane, dude.
Hey, Myron, I was
Yo.
wondering what you think of the Alex Preddy shooting.
Well, I mean, look, it's never good when someone loses their life, but I think people need to be a bit more responsible, understand that, like, you know, getting into situations with law enforcement and putting yourself in bad scenarios can lead to really can lead to violence.
Yeah, putting yourself in a scenario like that could put you in more violence, but don't you think that the cop should have been more responsible before executing someone when it's your Second Amendment right to concealed carry?
Yeah, you can absolutely conceal carry, but you can't conceal carry while committing a felony.
Yeah, that. Do you think a court would find that as a felony?
Yeah, he literally he assaulted.
Someone puts their hand on someone's like shoulder to ask them a question, it's like assault.
Well,
because in the context of that situation, I don't even know that a court would, if it's a jury trial, would find that was assault.
Well, actually, he was, because what was happening was the Border Patrol agent was dealing with.
He was what?
Can I finish what I was going to say?
That wasn't a response. He was what? Are you saying?
Well, I was
gonna
finish, but you just interrupted. Okay, so basically, a Border Patrol agent was dealing with a woman. He pushed her. Then Alex Preddy interjected himself in the middle of that confrontation, put his hand on the Border Patrol agent. The Border Patrol agent grabbed him, tried to pepper spray him. He resisted, and that's when the
When did he
escalation
resist
began.
after he was pepper sprayed? He was already like on the ground. He got knocked down, and then past that point,
No, he
was
pepper
still
sprayed him
hitting
first.
Yeah, he pepper
tried to
sprayed
pepper spray him first.
Then he go to the ground, right? And then he's still getting hit by a gas canister.
Because he was resisting.
No, he wasn't. All four
He-
limbs
he wasn't
were on the
resisting?
ground. Moving around because you're getting hit isn't resisting.
He was resisting.
Is it resisting if I twitch when someone smacks me?
No, you're resisting when they try to grab your hand and you're fighting away from it, and they got to throw you to the ground to get
If
you
you
restrained.
don't know what's happening and there's people in all directions and they're giving unclear instructions?
He saw exactly what was happening because
How?
he was, the one.
pepper sprayed by your own admission just
Okay,
now. You just
hey,
said that.
Hey,
right?
you do realize that Alex Preddy came to the Border Patrol agent while he was dealing with the woman, so he knew who he was. He was obviously clearly marked
Are we
with
talking
a vest
pre
on.
or post? Pre or
What?
post pepper spray? Because I'm talking about when he got hit on the ground with the
Pre
canister.
pepper spray.
And you're
'cause-
saying he was resisting then when he was on the ground after he got pepper sprayed,
Okay,
right?
let's go by this play-by-play. Border Patrol agents are there doing an immigration enforcement operation in Minneapolis. The Border Patrol agent is dealing with a female agitator, someone, we don't know the exact facts there, but she was there impeding. As he's dealing with her, Alex Preddy comes up from his left, puts his hand on the Border Patrol agent now, and the woman's on the floor because he pushed her. Now that another person comes to him from his left, law enforcement is trained to, who is this guy? He's got to get this guy under some type of control. So he grabs him by the hand and tries to pepper spray him. When he pepper sprays him, that's when Alex Preddy starts resisting, and then other Border Patrol agents
You're
come
saying
into the fray.
resisting. How did he resist? Like pushing him? What's he doing?
He was trying to grab his hand, and
So
probably
he's grabbing onto a hand while after he's been pepper sprayed? Or
the Border Patrol agent tried to grab his wrist
and he pulls away?
to detain him or get him on the floor, and he was resisting. Yes.
After he's on the ground, he's already been pepper sprayed, though. That's why
He
I
was
said
still resisting.
pepper spray.
He was
That's
still
why
resisting.
I asked you before.
No, he was still resisting.
He's resisting by moving on the ground on all fours like this.
Yes, and trying to get back up. Yes.
When was he trying to get back up? We just see him scuffling around while 4 people are on top of him, and they're all giving imprecise instructions.
Yeah, see, like,
Also,
the problem
yeah.
is that, like, you just don't want to deal with the objective facts that he closed the distance on
Also,
the Border
does
Patrol agent.
resisting mean you
If
can
you
just
close the distance on the Border Patrol agent when they're lawfully dealing with another person, they're
Yeah.
going to probably grab you and try to detain you and put you
At
on the
what
floor because
point-
it's
okay.
officer safety. Then they found out that he had a gun on his person, okay? And that's when he got shot.
Why does him having a gun on his person means it's okay for him to get shot?
It's not about it being okay to get shot. It's about he committed a crime while armed and impeding law enforcement officers
Okay,
from
and
their
was
duties.
it necessary for the officer to
The
shoot
conversation
him
that-
to
do you
stop
understand?
him committing a crime?
That ends it right there, dude. He resisted.
He committed a
law
crime, so that
enforcement.
means you get to shoot him. If someone resists,
He
you
committed a
get to
crime
shoot
while he
him.
was armed.
It doesn't matter if you're just armed. He's not brandishing or a threat to the officer. If you have a gun on your person and you're caught shoplifting, the cops don't shoot you in Walmart. They try and detain and arrest you.
So here's the beauty, right? This is why there's case law on this topic. So progressive morons like you don't fuck things up for everybody else.
I'm not a progressive.
You are a
retard.
progressive moron. Because here's the thing. When it comes to law enforcement being involved in shootings, and I was describing this earlier with the other guy, 2020 hindsight, okay, is not applicable. What's applicable is what was known to the law enforcement officer at the time the use of force was conducted. And at the time, they heard gun, gun, gun. He was armed, and a shot went off. Now, we know that this shot went off when they took the gun off his person because the 6-hour that he had was, notorious for going off when it's not supposed to. But what matters is, what did the Border Patrol agents think that shot him at the time? Was it reasonable? And in many jurisdictions, that's going to be looked at as reasonable. It's a lawful shoot, man. Now, you could talk about the morality and say this is fucked up and this is so evil, etc. But the reality is, he was impeding law enforcement. He committed a felony. He assaulted them at the time that happened, and he was armed. And he was doing this for weeks prior.
We don't even know if he would find that that's assault in any sense. Even if it was, you're just
It
saying
is.
you're
You
just
cannot put
saying
your
he
hands on a
saw
Border Patrol
that there
agent.
was a gun.
It's
or heard there was a
100%
gun
assault. You cannot put your hands on a federal law enforcement officer when they're in the middle of an enforcement operation. He was dealing with another suspect, and he put his hands on him. That's
If
assault
you're
all
going
day.
just
You
by
lose on
like
that.
straight letter of the law, though, anytime you even touch someone, it could be considered a battery, right?
Don't touch federal agents when they're doing their jobs.
I said anyone, not federal agent.
Well,
right?
that's very important because that's pertinent to the facts. With the
Okay, but I'm
the
asking
fact
you
pattern here.
generally, as a matter of law, it would be battery if I just touch any person, like if I tap you on the shoulder, right? If you want
Every
to take it that
state is
literally,
different,
right?
but we're not here to discuss that. I'm here to tell you you cannot touch it.
So you can't discuss the law that we're here to talk about now.
We're talking about a specific instance.
Okay, so I'm gonna make this very brief. Alex Pretty was murdered because, again, they confiscated his weapon. Failure following policy and regulatory follow-up led to his death, which is death by their incompetence, which then shows their entitlement, which then shows their leniency, which then shows the leniency of how the laws apply to them and how they escape accountability, which of course shows once more that these people are being executed on the streets, which of course is something people have to pay attention to if they want to avoid being executed or exterminated by a group of entitled Gestapo forces with federal pardons or federal people constantly playing their defenses as you get executed for obeying them. And me knowing how police work, especially civil rights movement, they can grab your arm as you're consenting and allowing them to arrest you, and they will pretend like you're fighting them in order to play that he's resisting, because they'll do anything to prove you're resisting. You'll have an open hand and they'll crunch it up and say he has a fist, he's resisting. They'll say that your hand being stuck in some place means you can't turn it, but he'll be turning the other way so you can't actually be in a compliant position, which they would use to execute you, which again is loopholes a lot of these people use in order to exterminate or kill people, because they're trying to kill anyone who disobeys their commands. This is another example as to why Myron is a entitled federal agent, which of course is someone that is trying to always say that they are entitled to extermination and killing people whenever they feel like it, because again, they want you to obey, comply, and die because they are trying to kill people of color. And if you're not in with the squad of extermination, a lot of them just want to push you're mentally ill if you disobey or if you're questioning their authority, and they'll tell you that you're a lesser human being, which is pushing the subhuman versus the superior, which is the Hitlerian perspectives, which again is what they're trying to set as a precedence because they do not want anyone questioning their authority. This is again a Gestapo force without any leash on it. And of course, currently, as of this moment, a lot of these police officers are currently at the TSA and at the airports not wearing their masks when they always said they had to wear the mask because they were under threat, which of course is complete nonsense since they're just walking about without their masks. There is no threat to federal agents. They're just pretending because people like to tease them and say someone's going to hurt you or someone's going to get you. A lot of them are living in fear because their fear is what excuses them for exterminating people, which is I feared for my life in court in order to excuse their killing of people, which of course they are using that continuously to build up this victimhood mindset so they can cash out on the currency of exterminating black, brown people and anyone who opposes their authority.